Most men believe attraction begins with words. But the truth is, the moment you touch a woman, her brain makes a decision about you that words can never change. I want you to understand something that most men are never taught. Touch is not just physical, it is psychological, it is emotional. And when done with awareness, it can create a sense of connection so deep that a mature woman begins to feel it long after the moment has passed. But here's the part many men misunderstand. The touches that create emotional attraction are not aggressive, not rushed, and never forced. In fact, the most powerful touches are almost invisible. They are subtle, respectful, and filled with intention. When a woman has lived enough life, relationships, heartbreak, lessons, disappointments, she becomes extremely sensitive to energy. She can feel the difference between a man who touches with patience and a man who touches with need. And that difference changes everything. The first touch that creates emotional attraction is the gentle guiding touch. Picture this moment. You're walking together through a crowded place, maybe a restaurant entrance, maybe a busy sidewalk. You place your hand lightly on the center of her upper back for just a second to guide her through the doorway. It's not controlling. It's not lingering, it's simply present. That one small gesture communicates something powerful to the female mind. Leadership without dominance. Mature women notice this instantly because it reveals a man who is aware of his surroundings and comfortable taking quiet initiative. You're not grabbing, you're not pulling, you're simply guiding. Psychologically, this type of touch creates safety. And safety is one of the strongest foundations of emotional attraction. The second touch that awakens connection is the warm greeting touch. When you first see her, instead of a distant wave or an awkward nod, you greet her with a calm hug that lasts just a moment longer than expected. Not too long, just enough for your presence to be felt. During that hug, your body communicates something your words cannot. Stillness. A rushed hug feels like obligation. A stiff hug feels uncomfortable, but a relaxed, grounded hug tells her something about your emotional state. It tells her you are calm, you are comfortable, you are not afraid of connection. Women sense this instantly. You see, a mature woman is not searching for excitement alone. She is searching for emotional depth, and a warm greeting touch signals that you are someone who values connection rather than performance. The third touch that builds emotional attraction is surprisingly simple. It's the reassuring touch during laughter. When she says something funny or when you both share a moment of genuine laughter, a brief touch on her arm, light, natural, and effortless, creates something powerful. But here is the secret. It must feel spontaneous. If it feels calculated, the emotional effect disappears. But when it happens naturally in the rhythm of conversation, her brain links that positive emotion with your presence. Psychologists call this emotional association. When a joyful moment and a gentle touch happen together, the brain begins connecting the feeling of happiness with the person who created it. Over time, that association deepens. She begins to feel good simply being near you. Not because you said something perfect, not because you impressed her, but because your presence creates emotional warmth. And that is something many men completely overlook. The most attractive men are not the ones who talk the most or try the hardest to impress. They are the men who understand emotional timing. They know when to speak and when to simply be present. They understand that a small, respectful touch can communicate more warmth than 10 minutes of conversation. But there are 4 other touches that go even deeper into the psychology of attraction. Touches that mature women remember long after the moment has ended. And once you understand them, you'll realize that emotional connection isn't created through grand gestures. It's created through moments most people overlook. There is something most men fail to understand about touch. It is not the contact itself that creates attraction. It is the emotional message behind it. A mature woman has experienced enough in life to recognize when a man touches with respect and presence, and when he touches with hidden pressure or expectation. Her mind reads those signals instantly. One of the touches that quietly builds emotional attraction is the supportive arm touch. This usually happens during conversation, often when she is sharing something personal or meaningful. When a woman opens up about an experience, a memory, or even a challenge she faced, a gentle touch on her forearm for a brief moment communicates something words cannot easily express. It says, "I hear you." Not in a dramatic way, not in a theatrical performance of empathy, but in a grounded, calm acknowledgement of her emotional moment. Mature women notice this because most people interrupt, change the subject, or rush to offer advice. A man who simply listens and offers a brief, reassuring touch creates a sense of emotional validation. Her brain begins associating your presence with understanding rather than judgment. That feeling is powerful because emotional safety is rare in modern relationships. Another touch that quietly deepens attraction is the celebratory high five or playful hand connection during shared excitement. This might sound simple, even childish, but psychologically it has a fascinating effect. When two people celebrate a moment together, a joke, a small victory, or a shared observation, the brief contact of hands creates a burst of positive emotional energy. What matters here is the authenticity behind it. When a man allows himself to enjoy the moment without overthinking it, the interaction feels natural. Mature women appreciate this because many interactions in adult life become serious, guarded, or overly careful. A man who can share lightness without losing his composure communicates emotional balance. He is not tense. He is not trying too hard. He is comfortable being human. And comfort is attractive. Another powerful touch happens when leaving a place together. Imagine you're stepping out of a restaurant, walking toward the parking area, or navigating through a crowded space. A brief moment where your hand lightly meets hers, perhaps to guide her across the street or through a busy path, sends a subtle signal. It communicates attentiveness, not ownership, not control, simply attentiveness. The female brain interprets this as awareness. It shows that you are paying attention to the environment and to her presence within it. Mature women often notice these small acts of consideration more than grand gestures because they reveal character. Anyone can plan an impressive evening, but only a thoughtful man consistently pays attention to the small moments. And then, there is one touch that carries emotional weight far beyond its simplicity. The goodbye touch. The moment when two people part ways reveals more about connection than the moment they meet. Many men rush this moment. They offer a quick handshake, a distant wave, or an awkward half-hug as if they are trying to escape the vulnerability of the moment. But a calm, sincere hug when saying goodbye creates something different. It creates closure and anticipation at the same time. When a man hugs a woman with relaxed presence, not tight, not rushed, simply calm, her nervous system registers the warmth of that moment. Her mind quietly replays it later because it felt genuine. Humans remember how interactions make them feel far longer than what was actually said. A meaningful goodbye hug communicates appreciation. It says the time together mattered, and mature women deeply value experiences that feel intentional rather than casual. When you look at these touches together, something important becomes clear. None of them are dramatic. None of them are overly intimate. They are respectful, natural, and emotionally aware. That is exactly why they work. Because real attraction, especially for a mature woman, grows through emotional signals of trust, presence, and attentiveness. But there is still something deeper that ties all of these moments together. Something that determines whether a touch feels powerful or completely forgettable. And almost no one talks about it. There is a silent rule of human psychology that most men never learn. Touch only becomes powerful when it matches the emotional energy of the moment. When it doesn't, the brain immediately feels the disconnect. This is why some touches feel warm, natural, and unforgettable, while others feel awkward, forced, or uncomfortable. A mature woman has developed an incredibly accurate emotional radar. Life has trained her to notice subtle signals, the tone of a voice, the timing of a pause, the intention behind a gesture. So, when a man understands emotional timing, his presence begins to feel effortless. One of the most powerful touches that creates emotional attraction is the reassuring shoulder touch during a quiet moment. This often happens when a conversation becomes thoughtful or reflective. Maybe she's sharing something meaningful about her life, her past, or even a challenge she faced. In that moment, a brief and gentle touch on her shoulder can communicate understanding without interrupting her words. It says, "You're safe to share this with me." What makes this touch powerful is its simplicity. It's not dramatic. It's not prolonged. It simply appears in the moment when emotional support is needed. And mature women recognize this instantly because many people struggle to sit with emotional depth. They rush to lighten the mood or change the subject. A man who remains calm and supportive in that moment communicates emotional strength. That strength quietly builds attraction. Another subtle touch that creates emotional warmth is the playful nudge during light teasing or humor. When two people begin feeling comfortable with each other, playful moments naturally appear. A joke, a shared observation, or a small teasing comment can create laughter. A gentle nudge of the elbow or shoulder during that moment reinforces the emotional rhythm of the interaction. But the secret here is authenticity. If the humor is forced, the gesture feels forced too. But when the laughter is genuine, the brief contact amplifies the feeling of connection. Psychologically, this creates what we call social bonding. It signals that both people are relaxed enough to enjoy each other's company without tension. Mature women value this because many interactions feel guarded or overly careful. A man who can create lightness without losing respect shows emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. Then there is a touch that carries quiet confidence, the brief hand touch when emphasizing a meaningful point in conversation. Imagine you're discussing something important, maybe a shared value, a life lesson, or a personal belief. As you finish your thought, your hand gently touches hers for a moment, not as a performance, not as manipulation, simply as a natural extension of your words. That moment reinforces sincerity. Humans instinctively trust communication that combines words and physical presence. When those signals align, the message feels more genuine. Mature women notice this alignment because it shows a man who is emotionally present rather than distant. But there is an important truth behind all these touches. They only work when they come from calm confidence. If a man is nervous, seeking approval, or trying too hard to create attraction, his touch carries tension. The female mind senses that immediately. Instead of creating connection, it creates uncertainty. But when a man is comfortable with himself, his gestures feel relaxed, his movements are slower, his timing is natural, and that relaxed energy changes the entire emotional atmosphere. Women begin to feel at ease around him, and ease is incredibly powerful in relationships. Because by the time a woman reaches maturity, she has often experienced relationships filled with emotional chaos, misunderstandings, pressure, inconsistency. When she meets someone whose presence feels calm and steady, her mind recognizes something rare: peace. And peace is one of the deepest forms of attraction a mature woman can feel. But there is still one final truth that determines whether these moments of connection grow into something meaningful or slowly fade into memory. It's not about technique. It's about intention. Here is the truth most men never hear about attraction. A touch does not become powerful because of where it happens. It becomes powerful because of why it happens. A mature woman can sense intention faster than most men realize. She doesn't just feel the contact, she feels the meaning behind it. And when a man's intention is clear, calm, and respectful, every small gesture begins to carry emotional weight. But when the intention is rushed, impatient, or driven by the need to impress, even the most perfect gesture loses its power. This is why the most attractive men are rarely the ones who try the hardest. They are the men who understand presence. Presence means you are not constantly calculating your next move. You are not performing a script. You are not forcing moments to happen. You are simply aware of the person in front of you and responding naturally to the connection unfolding between you. When a man operates from presence, his touch feels different. It feels patient. And patience is one of the rarest emotional signals a mature woman can encounter in modern dating. Many interactions today feel rushed. Messages arrive quickly, expectations form quickly, and people move from one connection to another without truly experiencing the moment they are in. But when a man slows down, when he allows conversations to breathe, laughter to linger, silence to exist without discomfort, his presence begins to feel grounding. And grounding energy is incredibly attractive. Think about the touches you've heard about. None of them are dramatic. None of them are intense. They are brief, respectful, and perfectly aligned with the emotional moment. A guiding touch on the back that shows awareness. A warm greeting hug that communicates comfort. A gentle touch on the arm during shared laughter. A supportive touch during meaningful conversation. A playful hand connection during excitement. A brief guiding hand while walking together, and a sincere hug when saying goodbye. Individually, each one seems small, but together, they create a pattern of emotional consistency. They show a man who understands connection rather than chasing it. That difference changes how a woman experiences your presence. She stops feeling like she is being evaluated or impressed. Instead, she begins to feel something much deeper. She feels seen. And being truly seen is one of the most powerful emotional experiences a human being can have. Because when someone feels seen, they relax, their guard lowers, their personality opens, conversations deepen, moments become more meaningful. This is where emotional attraction quietly begins to grow, not through grand gestures, not through complicated strategies, but through simple moments of awareness that most people overlook. The truth is, mature women are not searching for perfection. They are searching for authenticity. They want to know that the man standing in front of them is comfortable with who he is, that his kindness is genuine, that his attention is real, that his presence is not a performance designed to win approval. And when a man shows that kind of emotional maturity, even the smallest touch becomes memorable, because it comes from a place of calm confidence rather than pressure. So before you leave, I want to ask you something personal. Out of these 7 touches, which one do you believe creates the strongest emotional connection? The warm greeting hug, the guiding touch on the back, the reassuring arm touch, the playful moment of laughter, the supportive shoulder touch, the hand connection while walking, or the sincere goodbye hug? Write your answer in the comments. I want to see what you think. And if this perspective helped you understand attraction in a deeper way, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with a friend who might need to hear it. Because sometimes the most powerful connections in life don't begin with grand gestures. They begin with small moments of awareness that most people never notice.